Hi friends, it's Dana Williston with our Blooming Catholic Life, but I'm here today with some tips on yarn shows, fiber festivals. It's that time of year, friends, and if you've never been to one or only been a couple times, there are some easy peasy mistakes to make and things that you may regret later. Let's be real, fiber festivals are not your Mega Mart store. They're not your local craft store, and they're not your local yarn shop. There's a little bit of difference. So one, the Mega Mart, you go in, you buy your acrylic, cotton, wool, your basic, very basic yarns, easy peasy. They come in a skein. You pretty much know what you're getting, and there's often a pattern on the label that tells you everything that you would need if you buy this yarn and want to do the project on the label. It's not always like that in a fiber festival. Now, in a local yarn shop, a lot of times you can go in and the yarn shop owner is lovely, and if they have time, they will help walk you through all the questions that you have. And in your smaller fiber festivals, they're going to be able to do that. Some of the big ones, they just may not have the time. So sometimes before a really big fiber festival, there's a small one within about an hour's distance that people will travel and hit both. A lot of the vendors, not all of them, will go to both, but the smaller festival is going to have less people, less crowded, and probably more time to talk to the shop owners. The downfall of that is the big sale being the last one and being big, and these people getting ready to go home. They're probably going to offer some good deals and steals at that last moment because they don't want to take all their inventory home. So let's go over some other basic tips. I'll show you one thing. This is how a lot of yarn at a yarn festival come. It's in a hank. This is from a while ago, and I'm not the one who bought it, so ignore these prices. But this is a hank. I'll show you how that works in a minute. Somebody has already made it into a cake. You can't just use this like you use a skein from your local Mega Mart. It's just not how these work. You have to have a thing called like a ball winder and a yarn swift or 2 chairs, but we're going to get to that in a minute. If you are handicapped or don't have the ability or time to make these, this may not be the yarn for you, but you may ask. Perhaps your large fiber festival does have a station somewhere where you can get this done. Local yarn shops will usually do this for you, so that's a difference between the 3 places. Mega Marts, not necessary, right? Local yarn shops will often help you out and cake your yarn. It's usually a center pull. Sometimes you can pull from the outside. You can see it just has a rubber band on the outside. Always put your label on so you remember what it is. And then they're generally speaking a center pull, and they'll normally put the label on so that you know to grab it out the top, right? Another thing you're going to want to notice is this one. It's handwritten on what it is. 80% Suri alpaca and what is that, 20% merino. It has the yardage, it has the gauge. It does say it's a size 1, which is something you're used to seeing in your Mega Mart yarn, right? Most yarn and fiber festivals don't have this, so I was pretty surprised when this one came with it. But it will tell you it's rough gauge, and it says needles US 1 to 3, and there's going to be the washing directions. So these are things you're going to want to pay attention to. You're going to be drawn to a lot of fancy yarns. They're mostly hand dyed. So if you can only afford to buy one, that's fine, but make sure you have a pattern that only needs one. So one thing to do is to say to the shop owner, if it's not crowded, you can say something like, I really love this yarn, and I either say knit or crochet. Say your skill level and say, do you have any projects that this would be good for? And they'll usually help you out. They want to sell you the yarn, so they'll usually help you out. Pay attention. Know what these words mean, though. So these are both kinds of natural fibers, right? Alpaca and merino, telling you that they need to wash gently in cool water and lay flat to dry. That is also a big consideration of space. Do you have the room and the ability? Everybody can wash in cold water. You could do it in a sink. Do you have room to let your project dry flat? If it's a big shawl, maybe not, but if it's a pair of socks, probably. Okay, so let's look at one of those hanks. This is another one. I just rehanked it. I'll show you what this looks like. I got this a while ago. See, it's twisted, and then you are going to look around. You'll notice, oh, here's a little end just sticking out. That's a little scary. So maybe somebody's played with this. This could also be one that somebody gave to me. Can you see? It's tied off here. It's also tied here. Usually the ends are what's tied off. I'm not sure what this guy is up here. I'm going to loop him around so he doesn't get lost, and I will find him later. Let's keep him safe. Now I can keep him safe. So this comes off in a big circle. You can, if you've ever seen the cartoons with somebody doing this, usually a small child or a husband holding it while the wife just winds it into a very loose ball. Balls can damage some yarn, so it's not the greatest idea. The cakes are a looser way to arrange your yarn, and so it's not putting tension on it. It's not as bad. This has a lot of ends. I'm a little worried that there was damage done to this yarn along the way. Again, a lot of these were from swaps and whatnot, so maybe one of my friends had a mouse or moth problem I need to look at. This one no longer has the label. How can I tell if it's wool? We can look online. I'll try and find it and link it in the comments below. If you've got one of these bad boys without a label, I can almost guarantee that this is wool. Can I tell it's 100% wool? No, because it's fingering weight. It could be sock yarn, so it might include something like nylon or polyamide in it. Sometimes to give it a little bit of stretch, there can be a little bit of elastic or something in it for a sock. So there are tests. Believe it or not, it's a burn test. Pure wool, untreated wool, will not burn. Cotton burns. Acrylic or your artificial ones will melt in a lump. And that's why also you need to know what kind of yarn you need for your project. That fiber content is important. If you're making pot holders, don't use cotton. You know, we make that great granny corner to corner washcloth. That is a washcloth, a dishcloth, a cleaning cloth, a face cloth to wipe, just for your face. You can use it for all those, and it's great because it's cotton, like your cotton towels. But if you notice cotton pot holders for the kitchen, they always say for decorative use only. That's because they can catch fire. That is not a good thing to put a hot pot on. We don't want to do that, especially if you're tempted then to use it like an oven mitt. That is so dangerous, so dangerous. A good thing to use for that is silicone, but we're not knitting that, right? That's not a thing that we can knit. Anyway, so if you want a pot holder, you're probably going to want untreated wool, not your superwash, untreated wool. Again, washcloths, cotton is great for that. And you're like, I love cotton, it's so soft, so I'll make a blanket out of it. Most of our commercial cotton is heavy weight. And if you try and make a blanket out of it, you may regret it. It could weigh a ton and ruin your washing machine should you try to wash even a twin size blanket. Now, a baby blanket you can probably get away with, but I definitely wouldn't do garter stitch for that. That's going to be heavy. Do it yourself and find out. You'll find out pretty quick. If you look at your beautiful cotton summer weight blankets, there are a lot thinner fibers and yarns that are used to make those. So be aware when you're looking, what do I want to make? Do I have a project in mind? Would I like a sweater? Would I like a shawl? Socks, blankets, and know what fibers are good for that one. So when you're drawn to it, normally there's a sign above the different yarns that say what the fiber contents are. You can see this guy has a lot of issues. I see a lot more of those ends. I'm a little worried about him. So what do I do now to put him back? Oh, when I said they held it like this, you can also do it over 2 chairs. You can put 2 chairs facing with the seats towards each other, have the yarn on the outside, or either way, and you can just walk around them as well. Some people do it over 1 chair. It depends on what will hold it. You don't want it like super tight, but you don't want it so loose that it flops around either. And you can just make it into a ball. I've done that on vacation when I've gone to a little local yarn shop or a festival that I found at the last minute, and I'm on vacation and I don't have any other way to do it. I'll do that. I'm going to really investigate this one. I was really looking forward to trying to make the hexagon sweater out of this. It looks like there's a lot of ends or damage here. So what do we do to put it back? Twist it up. They have machines that do a lot of this, but look, I'm going to put it in my hand, pull one over, and we're pretty much back to our little hanky hank. Okay, so we've talked about hanks and all that. Let's see. What else do I have? This was my inspiration at this little local yarn festival I went to. I got this little pack. It does say it's SW fingering. Tells me it's 70 some percent SW merino and 23% nylon. It is 437 yards, 400 meters, 100 grams, machine wash with delicate, with cold water, and gently lay flat to dry. And it is a bundle. You can see it's a bundle. They probably had all these solids. This all together was $35. That's like the going price now. They put a lot of these together. There's also sock bundles that are variegated with a solid color that coordinates, and that's for the toe and the heel. So be aware of that if you're looking to make socks. Or you could do a nice little shawl probably and use one of these colors for the edging. But this was my inspiration. I'm like, don't you feel like I'm drawn to these colors a lot? I was like, And I got home and went to look to see what else I had. I saw somebody with a sock white hexagon sweater, and those two things kind of came together. I admit that was an impulse purchase. But what I found was I've been collecting sock yarn in these colors that coordinate all along. Now, a couple of these have some silk in them, so I'm blending them. One with the nylon, and then the next one's going to have the little bit of silk in it. So I'm alternating. I'll show you how it's looking so far. I really have no idea if I have the yardage to pull this off, but if I do, it's going to be really neat. So what I'm doing is I don't have enough of any one of these, but you don't want to pull a whole bunch of, this is what I had the most of. So I split everything in two because there's two sides to a hexagon granny sweater. So I split everything in two. I did just ball them. I did it as loosely as I could, and I know I'm hopefully not going to have this in the ball for very long, but I don't want it to pool these colors, so I'm alternating. You can see I'm alternating it with another ball of variegated. All of these are variegated. I think it's really fun and cute and will be a great lightweight summer sweater. Now for this, I purposefully went up 2 hook sizes because I want it a little bit more lacy. So again, a little tricky to figure out the yardage from what other people are doing. It seems like most people are doing it kind of sketchy and on the fly, and they don't know how many yards they use. So well, it's a little tricky, right? But if you just buy that little skein of sale yarn, which I was always attracted to do in the beginning, you're going to end up with all these little orphans and not enough to make the projects you want. So ask questions, be smart. Remember, if you go earlier in the festival, it's probably crowded, crazy right at first, right? And then it's going to slow down, and then it picks up on the last day because everybody's looking for those sale deals. So you might go the first day when they are full of stock, look at things, see what's catching your eye, take some notes, and then hang out with friends. Say, do I have the needles? Would this have enough yardage for this project? You can probably use Ravelry at that festival. If you've never used it, ask somebody, and they'll probably tell you. Go with a group, somebody who knows how to do these things. Hang out with your friends, and maybe while you eat lunch, figure out what you want. Do you want to go back and buy that? Do you want to come back, think about it overnight, and go back another day? It can be a huge investment for some. For others, they know what they want. They've been waiting all year. They may have their favorite vendors. They know exactly who they're going to hit. But remember, a lot of these yarns are going to be hand dyed, even if they have them again. Yes, I know, moth got in here. Even if they have that exact yarn under that same name again, it's not like your Mega Mart yarns, acrylic yarns that have no dye lot. These have dye lots. These are hand dyed, small batch by small batch. Matching the colors from year to year, even week to week, is crazy. So instead, go for a contrasting or coordinating yarn. That's what I was doing with those. And it's a lovely thing to do. Again, you can pick up a variegated and a matching solid. That's a way to go too. If you buy the variegated first, you could have as many as 5 colors in that yarn, so you have a greater opportunity to find a match. If you just find the solid first, it can be super difficult to find that and pick it out in a variegated. So my idea there is go for the inspiration like I did with that little pack. Go for that inspiration. Oh, if you're wondering what I'm going to do with those solids, I'm thinking edgings. If I can, pockets. If not, I'll figure out a way to weave them in. I may do something coordinating a little purse or a headband or something fun like that. Okay, friends, that's it. I'm sure all of you have other tips. Those are all the that I could think of off the top of my head. I've really been ruminating about this week because I know it's Fiber Festival season. The huge one, Maryland Sheep and Wool, is this weekend in Howard County, Maryland. So I wanted to get this out to you. If you've got tips for newbies or those who've been around the block a few times, put them in the comments below. Let's share and get everyone to have the best fiber summer ever. Right? Let's get out there. I know it's so silly, but it can be overwhelming when you're new, right? And you're not sure what to do, or you don't have friends that knit to go with you. If you don't have a local yarn shop nearby you, it's so exciting to be able to go and talk knitting and crochet with other people. You can often, there may be spots, find out ahead of time if you can bring in a cooler with your own food. Wait, these are tips that you're going to want to know. If you can bring a cooler with your own food or a little chair, I'll show you mine in just a second. If you can bring a little chair or at least a pad to sit on, if you can bring in your lunch. If not, be sure you at least get cold water as soon as you go into these. You're not going to regret that, especially even if the buildings are open. It can be so many people. It can get overwhelming to your health as well, to your body. So make sure you at least get a bottle of cold water as soon as you can to carry with you. If you're in a club or have a group of friends, you can inquire ahead of time. There may be a spot where you can pop up a little canopy for you to sit under. Again, we want everybody to be healthy as well as having a lot of fun and fellowship. You may find some other groups of people who like to knit for the same charities or causes that you do as well. So also, if you want to, wear a name tag. It doesn't even have to be your real name. It can be if you're in Ravelry or something like that. And I know a lot of people object to Ravelry. I'm just using it as an example. I know there's alternatives. You may be in a group on Facebook or Twitter or something else. Put whatever your handle name is so people can find you and you can connect again. If it's a group, just put the group's name. You don't have to put your own personal name. You can even make up a name. Who's going to know? It's okay. You can say, I'm Susie from whatever group, and just say where you are on Facebook, Twitter, whatever you use, Substack, whatever the kids are using these days. Anyway, whatever the old people, young people, whatever your group of people is using these days, put it down. Also be ready for that. There are people from all walks of life there. We went last weekend. You had every alternative style you can think of, I think, under the sun, as well as grannies. I think this one I think this yarn came from a group. It says Dachshund Daddy Knits. I didn't see a man even at the stand when I was there, but you're going to see everything. There's also a lot of wooden tools, not just knitting, everything across the board, knitting, handcrafting. You may also see a lot of 3D printed things. If they're plastic and you're not sure and you're like, how'd they get all these things? They're probably 3D printed. So if you wanted something it's a little bit more lightweight than some of the woods, you may want to check that out. There's also often pottery. There's often sheep-related things, different foods, like sheep cheese, goat cheese, lamb kebabs. There's usually all those sort of things. There's often petting zoos or sheepdog demonstrations. So it's not just fiber. Whenever I've gone in the past to some of the larger ones like Maryland Sheep and Wool, my husband loves watching the sheepdog herding as well as all the food. He's there for the food. And, oh yeah, and for an easy Mother's Day gift, he'll give me a wad of cash and walk behind me with a canvas bag. He calls it easy peasy Mother's Day. And it's a great way to celebrate. You're spending time together. You're outdoors. You're talking. You're promising to make him a sweater that realistically you're never going to make him. Oh, well. Don't make promises you can't keep, friends. But be realistic. Say, I'd love to make this for you. If I could, I'll do my best. But if you're new to drop spindling, odds are you're not going to spindle enough yarn to make your full grown-up husband a cabled knit sweater. I can't even say it with a straight face. I do still have all the fiber, though. About half of it got spun, I think. Anyway, I might go back. There might be something I can make for him, a nice hat or some mittens. I don't know that I can. Wow, what a commitment to even make a sweater like the one he picked out, of course. I know exactly what it was, and I know where everything is. I'll have to see if I can do that for him. Anyway, friends, if you've got other tips, I know I keep thinking of more, so I'm going to go, and so you can get all ready up and get your plan God bless, friends. Oh, wait, if it's going to rain, take some kind of a zipper waterproof tote. You don't want to get your new purchases wet. That's awful. Please think about that. Sunblock, sunblock. See, I'm going to go on forever. Sunglasses. God bless you, friends.